Hey guys, Harsh here, back in the video. So another comparison for you guys today, and this time I'm comparing the Tarmac work against the INNO64. So as you can see, I have the most popular diecast model in my opinion, which is the ER34 LBWK Super Silhouette Skyline, and I think in my collection this is by far one of the best models I have. So I already did a video on the INNO64 and the Hot Wheels version, so if you want to check that video out, I will just give it in the description box below. And as you can see, both of them are boxed, so I need to like compare every bits and bob, like how they are packaged and how the details are on the car. So without wasting any time, let's get started. Now starting with the packaging, you can see both of them are nicely packaged. Both of them have the acrylic case, but the outer cardboard packaging on the Tarmac work, as you can see, is a bit less compared to the INNO64. You get this very hard black box over here, as you can see, which slides out perfectly, and inside we have the car itself, and you have this flap over here as well, so if you want to view it, you can. That is quite nice. So if we take both of the acrylic cases over here again and just slide it out as well. In terms of like the print quality, I would say like the floor design on this Tarmac works is quite good. It is a very colorful design, but then again the INNO64 is a lot more luxurious in design. It has this leather finish with knitting on top, and you get this metallic plaque over here with the car details, which is also quite nice. And on the bottom it has like this smooth surface. So this is for more like some heavy collectors where they want to keep like a luxurious feel to their collection, and this type of packaging could be more for guys like who likes things a bit more colorful. So depending upon your preferences, you can decide what is best. Now with the Tarmac works, you get a limited edition card with it as well, which is individually numbered. So I think mine is like 440 or something like that, and you will also get the chassis number over here. Quite nice to see. This sort of exclusivity is missing on the INNO64. Now both of them are held by two screws to the base, as you can see, one at the back and one at the front. So let me just quickly remove them and take a side by side look at both of them. So as always, starting in the front, you can see we have plastic insert headlights on both of them, and the inside design of it is quite clearly visible. So as you can see, we had like two halogen lamp shape inside on the INNO64 version, as well as on the Tarmac works as well. Tarmac works is a bigger model, so these sort of details are more visible and easy to implement, and obviously the INNO64 being a smaller scale, it is quite difficult to implement in a smaller scale. So some benefits might be inherent with the bigger scale of 1:43 for the Tarmac works. And one of the things that you may not recognize is that the Tarmac works is actually a diecast model, and this INNO64 version is a resin model. So the Tarmac works, obviously being bigger, is also quite heavy than the INNO64 version, so just keep that in mind. At the front, the LBWK's logo is quite clearly visible, and the LB Performance logo on both of them, as you can see. Although in the INNO64 version, you can see we have a license plate with a very stylish Japanese design given to it. That is completely missing over here, but I am guessing that this is a race spec car, because we get a driver's name over here as well, a Japanese one obviously, and this is a show car I believe, because of the white rim tires that it has. This one has black tires, so this may be because like during the licensing they had different sort of configuration on the car. So Tarmac works took the rights of the car when it was in like race configuration, and INNO64 took it when it was just a show car. So that is just something like tends to happen when you buy same sort of models from different brands. But on the Tarmac works, at the radiator you can see we have sort of like a web design, and that is for the fans I believe, and that is I think completely missing over here. It is not even I think clearly visible on the INNO64. It has sort of mesh design, and this Tarmac works one has like a actual radiator design. And speaking of the mesh, you can see on the top we get an actual mesh design, which is quite hard to come by, and I have only seen like this model with this sort of detailed mesh design. Obviously it is on the INNO64 version as well, but it is like a black plastic with dots in it, so a bit less realistic, but still a very nice detail to see. Both have the Nissan logo at the front, although I think the Tarmac works looks kind of like the original one, and the INNO64 version kind of like it has been squished from left to right. It does look a bit weirder as compared to the Tarmac works. Both of them have different number, as you can see. We have the number 5 on the Tarmac, number 9 on the INNO64, but again that is like a time difference, nothing we can do. If you look at the wheels on the Tarmac works, they are quite nicely detailed, and they also rotate, have a stationary disc brake inside them, and they also have a little bit of camber in them. So as you can see, they are like tilted towards the right a bit, and that is basically to help with the race performance of the car, to have better grip in the corners. It is all the same in the INNO64 version as well, but the wheels wheels over here do not rotate, so that is a big minus point if you want rolling wheels. To combat that, I believe they have put like some sponsors on the spokes. So you can see like we have a very tiny sponsor on the bottommost spoke over here which says GT, but after that I don't know what it says, but that is also present in the Tarmac works as well. It is quite a big wheel, so the lettering is quite clearly visible over here. It says GT and at the bottom it says Advan. So again, a bigger car benefit is that you get a supreme print quality. On the side of the fender you can see we have the Nismo logo and the LB-WK logo in the large form, which is LB Works, the full form of LB-WK or the Liberty Walk, something like that. And the print quality on both of them I think is quite similar. There is not much difference going on over here. One thing to note over here is that the door handle on the INNO64 is a bit more detailed than the Tarmac works. You can see we have a silver keyhole in which the key will go and open the car. That keyhole is actually missing over here, but you get a slightly more improved impression of the door handle on the Tarmac works. Again, it being a larger model, it is easy to do so, and that is missing on the INNO64. The print quality, however, on the INNO64 is a bit lacking over here. You can see the slogan over here, imagine the people living life in peace. And if you look at the Tarmac works, you can see like how the quality is quite different on both of these models. Now taking a look at the mirror, both of them have quite nicely detailed mirror with the reflective insert inside them, you can see, and that is the same case in the Tarmac works as well. So no complaints over here. The mirrors are quite nicely detailed, unlike Mini GT and Hot Wheels in which they like completely miss it. The windshield, as you can see, both of them have a very nice windshield with the windshield wiper and the Nissan Skyline logo. Again, I am guessing that this is a race specific sponsor that they added for this particular version and it is missing over here. Maybe because they weren't like able to get the sponsor on board to print the name on their car, which may be a copyright issue, but I think like INNO64 could have easily done that. Again, a thing to watch out for when you purchase same model from different brands. If we move further back, we can see we have some more detailing going on. Both of them are quite nicely detailed. You can see the LB Performance logo at the back over here as well, quite nice. And one other thing to watch out for over here is the exhaust system. So in the INNO64, you can see we have a double exhaust system coming out of the engine, and in the Tarmac works it is just a simple singular exhaust. So again, this is a configuration defect, nothing the manufacturer can do over here. Now if you take a look at the bottom of both of the cars, you can see the drivetrain view is quite nicely printed on both of them, but obviously the INNO64 version is a lot more detailed than the Tarmac works. As you can see, you also get like details of the car itself on the bottom, but that is completely missing on the INNO64 version. As you can see, there is no sort of information on whatsoever. Moving to the back window, you can see like this is a race spec version, so we have all the sponsors over here, and they have actually removed the heated back window, but that is present on this INNO64 version. As you can see, we have these sort of lines going on, which I guess are the heating wires, which actually heats the mirror up in case like snow falls and accumulate on the window, and when the heating turns on, it can like melt away the snow. So that's a quite ingenious way to do it. You also have the back wiper as well, which is missing on the Tarmac works. As you can see, I will take a look at the interior once I open both of them, but right now let's take the exterior and taking a closer look at the back wing. In this case, I must say like the INNO64 version looks a bit more detailed than the Tarmac works. You can see like we have these two black dots going on, which are like missing over here on the Tarmac works, and these are like the tiny details that we look out for when we purchase the model. So this is like a plus point for the INNO64 version for like accurate details, and that is completely destroyed when you look at the bottom. You can see bottom of the back wing doesn't have any sponsors on the INNO64, but at the Tarmac works you can see we have the LB Silhouette works quite clearly visible, and on the top the Liberty Walk logo as always is present, although being it in a metallic finish on the Tarmac works and in a matte finish on the INNO64 version. Backside I think is equally detailed on both of them, apart from the missing sponsor on the INNO64 version, as you can see, and the license plate missing on the Tarmac works, although it is present but with a different name. It says LB Performance, and I think this one also says LB Performance, but in like a very italic stylish look. And if you take a closer look, you can see like above the Nissan PDC logo, above the C, you will be able to see a keyhole again to open up the back trunk. So this is a very nice attention to detail on the INNO64 that is missing on the Tarmac works. As you can see, the tail light on both of them are quite equally detailed, although you will get some darker areas in the Tarmac works, which I guess looks a bit more realistic, but I think that is like a size benefit for the Tarmac Works. But they are both plastic insert, which is always nice to see. And the diffuser, like, there is no comparison whatsoever. It is just a simple black diffuser, nothing too special going on. So now let's open both of them and take a closer look at their interior. Now on the Tarmac Works, it is quite easy to open up the car. You can see once we remove the 2 screws, we will get this free-loading chassis, which is actually quite nice to see that it is free-loading. And the only reason why it is not free-loading is because of the fender design. It actually rubs against the wheels, so it kind of restricts it from moving around. But once the body is out, you can see like how freely it rotates, so that's quite nice. Then you will get the interior cockpit design, or whatever you'll have to call it, and then we have the actual metal diecast body, which is the most heavy of them all. But unfortunately for the INNO64 version, it is not possible to open it up without like making some serious damage to the car. I actually accidentally popped this wheel off, so I have to paste it on, and that wasted quite a few of my time. But one of the major difference I can notice is the interior quality. On the INNO64, you can see we have seat belts, which is like completely missing on the Tarmac Works. And if you were to take a closer look, those are yellow seat belts and have some sort of marking in them as well. And at the bottom, you will be able to see the 5-point buckle system. And if you look at the steering wheel, it has sort of like red wrap around the steering wheel, which makes it a bit more good looking in terms of like race spec and whatever. On the dashboard, you can see we have like silver-ish dials going on, and that is completely missing over here. You can see like the steering wheel is actually completely black, although you will get the silver plate on the dashboard with the dials. And on the actual speedometer level, you can see we have different types of dials as well, which are speed, RPM, and the fuel tank, I believe. So that is quite nice to see on the Tarmac Works. On the INNO64 version, I'm not sure if that is present or not, because it is so small and dark in here. I cannot actually say if it's there or not. But all in all, I think the INNO64 version has a more detailed interior than the Tarmac Works. So that is, guys, a quick detailed comparison between the Tarmac Works ER34 and the INNO64 ER34, and hopefully I was able to provide some good explanation on what to expect from both of them when you purchase them. So thanks for watching the video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and if you have any other suggestion on what other brands I should do next, so just comment down below and I will try to get those models as well. So as always, I will catch you all in the next one.